Hey everyone, this is Let's Get Practical, Daryl Girardier, and today we're talking about the truth about hiring someone to build your church's website. Let's do this. Welcome to Let's Get Practical. This podcast is about church communications from a practical standpoint. It's about what works and what doesn't. It's about helping you cut through all the clutter and noise and getting straight to the point. And today we're getting straight to the point about the truth of hiring somebody to build your church's website. Yes, building a website is not an easy task. And today I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I've learned along the way. And I guess the truth about when you're building a website, when you're bringing somebody in to build it, what do you need to look for and what do you need to think through when you're doing that? And I say bringing someone in. It could be a company, individual, or you could be building it yourself. So let me give you a little history on our church's website. When I first came on staff, our church website was actually built by an agency. A company had built it for them before I was even on staff. I think they built it like 5 years before I came on staff. And that website that they built was a fine website. The problem was when I came on staff was mobile for us was we were at about 50% of the people who came to our website were coming via a mobile device, and the website wasn't mobile friendly. So that was problem one. Problem two was it was the thing was custom from the ground up, even the back end, if you will. So what I logged in to put content in was a custom build. So I really couldn't modify anything. I couldn't add anything to it. It was completely a all-in-one box solution that they created for us. So I felt kind of trapped for what I could do and what I could dream going forward. So we kind of knew this wasn't going to be the option for us long-term. So what we did was at that time, I had a web developer on staff, a guy named Josh Jenkins, and Josh decided, and I decided together, we're going to just rebuild the thing from the ground up. We're going to do it ourselves. So we did all the heavy lifting ourselves. We got a host provider. We found a back end that would work for us. We installed Expression Engine. At that time, that was the best option for what our needs were. And we built the whole thing up, ground up for in-house. We brought Katie Allred on board at that time, and she helped us move all the content over to the new website. And then I think I did hire someone from the outside to kind of help us with a little bit of the design stuff. But for the most part, we completely rebuilt this thing from the ground up. So that was version 2 of the website, if you will. Now we're getting ready to go to version 3, and we've just started production on that about 90 days ago, and we've started the preliminary work on that. And that should be launching this summer. And for that, we've decided to bring in an outside individual to build it for us. Actually, technically it's a company, but it's just this one individual who is Josh Jenkins, who used to work for me, who left, and now he's coming back to build that. So that's where we're currently at on our website. So let me walk you through kind of some of the options that you have as an individual. You've heard what we're doing. I want to walk you through basically 3 categories, if you will, 3 avenues that you have to go down when you're building a church website and some of the things you need to think through about doing that. So here they are. Category 1. Category 1 is you buy some hosting somewhere on some sort of platform and you install WordPress on there, and then you pick a theme. I say WordPress because it's probably the most popular option. The other option is within that category 1 is you pick Squarespace, you pick Nucleus, you pick some other popular all-in-one solution platform by which you basically, for the most part, you're running things. You're the one inputting the content. You're maybe applying a theme to it. You're doing the design work. You're kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting yourself. So that's kind of option 1. Option, or category 2, if you will, is you hire a company. You hire an agency to come in, they give you a quote, and they build out a website for you with their company, their designers and engineers. You typically find companies that specialize in church website build outs. So these are people who, and typically they work with large scale churches, but even smaller churches for that matter. They've got probably a package for you. For X amount of dollars, we'll do everything for you. Hosting, all that's included in this, package price. So that's category 2. And category 3 is you hire an individual. You find maybe a volunteer in the church and you say, hey, you go make this happen. They give you a quote. Maybe they volunteer, they do it pro bono. I'm not sure. Or you've got some really great individual designers out there who can build websites from the ground up all by themselves, which is pretty awesome if you can find somebody who can do that. So those are kind of the 3 categories. So let me walk you through the pros and cons of each category. Category 1, if you buy a host and you decide, you know what, I'm going to throw WordPress on there. I'm going to go with Squarespace. I'm going to go with Nucleus. That's option category 1, if you will. Okay, if you do that, here's some things you need to think through. 1, you need some level of technical expertise to be able to pull this off. Even with the super easy solutions like a Squarespace, you need to have a little bit of technical knowledge on some stuff, because here's the deal. At some point, if you're the single point person and it breaks, you're the person who's most likely going to be in charge of having to get it fixed, or finding somebody who's going to get it fixed, or contacting customer service to get it fixed. So it's all going to really rest on you, especially if you go with like a hosted WordPress solution. So keep that in mind, that if you do that, if something breaks, you've got to fix it. Also keep in mind that in order to build this thing, you're going to have a lot of heavy lifting yourself, inputting the content, making sure it's correct, picking out the theme, picking out the colors, moving stuff around on the website. That is going to be a lot of heavy lifting that's going to fall on you. So you need to keep that in mind. So it's also the cheapest option, because it's going to cost you probably no startup cost whatsoever. It's going to cost you anywhere between, I'm going to ballpark between $16 to $50 a month, depending on which you choose in terms of a host. And you can turn around and create what you need on there and turn around. It's going to be cheap. But it's cheap for a reason, because you're going to do a lot of the maintenance on it. Out of those options, I would tell you, if you're doing a category one, I personally like Squarespace right now. That to me is my favorite, because their customer service I've dealt with is really good. It's not super expensive. I think it's around $16 a month now, I think is what it runs. If you do the monthly package, I think it's a little cheaper. Like it's like $12 maybe if you buy it for a year. I think it's a really good solution. I think it works really well. I really like Squarespace. I think you can do a lot of great things, and their stuff looks really good. You will have to do some heavy lifting on your end in terms of the branding and the design of it, because you don't want to look generic. But I think it's the best if you're going to go down category one road. Category two, you hire out a company to do this. This is moderately expensive depending on the size of your church and the scope of the work you want to have done. So typically these agencies have like maybe a build out fee and then a monthly fee for hosting. So you're going to have probably some upfront costs, and then you have a monthly cost. Sometimes it's all rolled into one. You have to sign like a 2 or 3 year contract, and you're going to pay, say, $100 a month, whatever that is, for the agency to kind of build this out. So the advantage of that is typically they're going to be your tech support. They're going to pull all that together for you. They'll probably give you hopefully good customer support in terms of the actual build out of the website initially. They're going to probably hopefully have a meeting with you, which they hear about what your needs are. They want to learn about your church, and then they'll turn around and say, great, here's some of our options that we think some of our pre-done solutions that we think will work best for you. And they'll even have engineers, designers kind of build out the website for you based on a whole bunch of different options they've already got ready to go. Now, the thing about this is you got to keep in mind that when you go this route, you're going to have a little bit of less of a choices in terms of avenues by which you can be creative or you can change things up, because a lot of these companies have a lot of pre-built solutions based off of experience of working with other churches. So if 90% of the churches they work with want this thing, I say a church calendar, they probably have a pre-built calendar solution that fits 80 to 90% of the audience. The problem is you may be the 10% who don't need a church calendar the way they've got it set up. You need it a certain way, and they're just going to tell you, I'm sorry, that's the way it's built. We really can't make that customization for you. So you've got to be able to understand that you're going to give up a little bit in terms of customization if you go that route. So keep that in mind. So the upside is that they've got formalized process. They've probably worked with a lot of churches. So they've got some key insights on how churches work best. The problem is that you're going to have to realize that that may mean you have to give up some customization on your end. So if you go this route, by the way, one of the things I think you should do is you probably need to basically just go to their website, find their client list or ask for a client list, and start calling churches who have used this company and figure out, okay, what do you think of it? What's the customer service like? What's the pricing like? Kind of really nose in, and then see if you can get any red flags from anybody who says, I wouldn't work with them again. You kind of want to do that. You want to do your research if you go that option. All right. Category 3 is you hire individual. Now, if you have an individual, there's the terms of the cost can vary. If you get somebody who's just straight out of college, they're a rookie, if you will, it may be dirt cheap. They may charge you like pennies to do this. If they're a volunteer, they may do it pro bono, or they may be really expensive because they're really good at what they do and they're a one person shop. So therefore they've got to charge a lot. The pricing on this can really vary based on the quality and years of experience. So when you hire an individual, you need to kind of keep that in mind, that the pricing is going to vary really depending on their skill set and so forth. So just always keep that in the back of your mind. one of the reasons why I like individuals is that individuals a lot of times will actually be the best in terms of the customer experience. And I mean that in the sense of the fact they're going to listen to you. They're going to figure out what do you need, what do you don't need. They'll be able to design custom solutions, specifically if they're an expert at what they do, and they can really build out a really great custom solution for you. You're going to pay for it, but they're going to really give you the individual attention that you need. And that's really, really important, specifically if you've got some really unique custom requirements. The other thing is you'll get custom designs. You'll get a lot of individualized attention and a lot of individualized work for that. So I always like that because, again, I'm going to get individual attention for what I need. And that's why I'm going with Josh Jenkins again to come back and build it, because I know Josh is going to sit down and Josh is really going to think through our website and think through our needs. Josh is also going to think through us if we don't, if we change something up again in the future, how do we make sure that we don't get stuck in a platform? If all of a sudden we do everything inside of WordPress, are we going to be able to get our WordPress stuff out and get it into a separate platform? He's going to think through those things for me as well. So that's why I like bringing an individual. So your options are, you can use WordPress, Squarespace, you can go Nucleus, you can go those routes, and those are great routes. Again, that's option category 1, if you will, and that's a great route. It's the cheapest route. Just remember, a lot of the technical is going to fall on you. Option 2 is category 2. You can hire a company. That company could be great because they've worked with churches all the time, so good for them. And so the reality is that they're maybe a little more expensive because you are buying into a system, and they may have some upfront costs and they may have some monthly costs that you're going to have to incur. But the good news is they're going to handle the technical issues for you. They hopefully have good customer service. And option 3 is you can hire an individual. Specifically, I suggest if you hire an individual, somebody that you know or you've built a relationship with, not somebody you just found on the internet. So the better you can do that relationship side of things, guess what? The better chance you are that you're going to be somebody who's really going to listen to your ministry, listen to your church, and really build something out that will actually best serve your church. So there's the 3 options. We've done all 3 in my church. We're going with option category 3, if you will. We're hiring an individual this time, but I have done it where we have, we've done WordPress. We're going to do WordPress. I've done it where we've hired a company and we've done an individual. So that's the route we're going. So there you go. Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you like this podcast, leave us a rating on iTunes, or you can subscribe as well in your favorite podcasting app. We would greatly appreciate that. Until next week, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.